It's new fender day for the Boogaboo. As you can see, we finally got around to ordering 6 new fenders for the boat. As I mentioned in the previous video where I was showing you how to clean these things off with acetone, the old white fenders. I didn't like the style of these things, plus the white is difficult to keep clean over the long term, especially if it's dragging in the water a little bit. And to me, the black fenders look a lot nicer against the white hull of the boat, same as we had on the last boat, on the Boogaboo 4. That was one of the first things I did, was bought, I think we got 8 new fenders for that boat because the hull was a lot longer. So what we have here is now 6 new fenders. The boat came with only 5 fenders, so we were shy 1. And didn't want to be that person who was having to run back and forth across the bow of the boat to swap over fenders when we were going to different ports of call. So 6 fenders it is, nice black, and I'm going to show you what I do to install those. So another problem we have with the old fenders is these lines they're old as well, and they're dried out and crappy and at the end of their life cycle. So what I had to do, for 2 reasons. First of all, I didn't like these lines because they're old and they're crappy at the end, and they're at the end of the life cycle, is that, as you can see, the way they hook, they just go through the loop at the top, whereas these fenders are the hole through the middle type. And I'm going to show you how that transpires. I don't know what you call those fenders, what that style is. I guess just regular, everyday old fenders. So these ones, the lines, as the name would imply, go through the middle, where the hole is. And you can see these ones have a little spot where you can fill up extra air if you need to, if these things start to leak a little bit. So what I always do is I put that facing the top so that doesn't get all full of grime and stuff if that happens to drag across the water, and leave the bottom, which is solid and smooth like a baby's bum that faces down. So this line, the old lines, aren't going to be long enough because this line is designed to go around the railing and not through the fender. So I got ourselves new fenders. What I did, I just bought, for this instance, a 15-inch braided line. These are actual dock lines. So they have the loop at the end, which is designed, of course, to go on to your cleat. Wouldn't you know it, I grabbed the wrong end of the line. Surprise, surprise. So these lines already come with the loop spliced into them. So what I'm going to do is figure out the length that I need and cut it to that length, and then get rid of this end, and I'm going to show you why. So what I'm going to do is take the existing line and my new lines, start at the end, line up the end of the lines, and just play that out, or sorry, I should say pay that out until it reaches the top of the fender, right? Which is here, and then I'll take that mark to the new fender, and then start at the top of the fender, and then add, of course, the length of the fender, because it's going to have to go through the middle, and then I add, since these lines are 15 feet long, and I probably only need 6 or 8 feet, so I'm going to add an extra, just for fun, about another 2.5 feet. And then I will mark it with a piece of tape, and that's going to be for 2 reasons. First of all, so I know where to cut this line off, and then when I actually cut the line, it's going to help from this braided line from all just splaying apart when I cut it. See what I mean in just a second. So I just wrap it with electrical tape. Good and tight. Cut that off. That'll cut my finger open for the 2nd time today. Funny story, we took the boat out for a pump out this morning, and when we got back into our slip, I was in a hurry to just wrap the dock line around the cleat on the dock, and I did it so fast, you wouldn't believe this, but my finger caught my toenail and sliced it wide open. And of course there's blood everywhere, and I got, you know, 1/2, 3/4 of an inch long deep cut on that fingernail, so always got to be careful out there, friends. Okay, so now that I have that all good to go, I have my sharp X-Acto knife here, my Olfa knife, and then I just cut right through where I marked it on the tape, and just a nice straight clean cut. And then discard the piece that I don't need anymore, and then I take my lighter. And just an interesting story about this lighter is that this has been hanging around on the boat in my toolbox since before we quit smoking. And this lighter is actually made in France. Now, Anchor Girl and I quit smoking 2002. It's 2018 now, so what, 16 years ago, if I'm doing my math right. And this lighter still works. Of course, I had to pick this not wind still day to do this. So what I'm going to do is take off my glasses so I can actually see, and then I just melt the end a little bit. I'm not going to melt it all the way through, just because that tape is going to start to burn and melt. So I just start it a little bit, and then just peel back the tape a little bit so I can get at the rest of the rope. Just expose that. Now this doesn't have to be super ultra pretty job, because you will see in a momentito what I'm going to do to cover this all up. So now that I have that all melted together so it doesn't take off on me, I am going to make a knot on the end. Now, just to be clear, I cut off the end that had the loop in it, being as that was a dock line, and kept this end from the factory, which was all nicely braided and spliced together. So that one is going to be protected over long term. So this one here, I leave about maybe 7-8 inches on it, and I make a knot on it. But not only one, not only two, I'm going to make 3 tight knots on it. Sorry, pull that up to the camera. So that is going to be what they call in the nautical terms a monkey fist, because it's like this. And then I take the bitter end, the end that's left over, and just bring it back onto that. And then this is why we don't worry so much about what the end of that line looks like, because I just tape this up together, tape it back into itself. I'll wrap that all around right to the end, and then tape that right to the very end of it. So again, that piece that I melted is protected and you'll never see it, and leaving that ball at the end. And then we just take that, stick it through the bottom side of the fender, drop that through like a dit. Alright, and then stick that all down into the hole, pull it through nice and tight. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And it's ready to go. And that should never pull through. Now, I have seen and used in the past, years ago, little black washers. They were little black fender washers, and they were designed that you could put the line through and put the fender on it, and that would keep it from pulling through. But that big knot isn't going to pull through this fender. Okay, now that's ready to hang. But there's one more little trick up my sleeve I'm going to show you. Now these are the fender rollers, the adjustable fender rollers that we've been using on many boats for many years. And they work great, but this is held on with like a claspy thing, and this just starts to corrode and get a little bit hooky. So I'm just going to put a little bit of lube on that. Just give her a little dab. And this is actually a really great product, and I'm going to share a video with you in a little bit down the road and show you what that's all about and the benefits of it. It's not meant for this job, but it works supremely for this job. So what I'm going to do is just put on that clasp, just open that up a little bit, just put a little bit of this lube all inside there, and then just kind of work it in. And that makes this thing a lot easier. If you do have to move these lines off the rail and move them somewhere else, they can just snap around. Okay, so in a big hurry you don't have to worry about fighting with these things, and then that holds it on the rail from falling out. If you want to take it off the rail, you just do that, and then boom, move it to wherever you want, and then back on. So now it's going to be a lot easier. And then finally, next to finally, that line just goes into these little guys like that. Pull it through to wherever you want. Drop this weighted ball back down, and then it's good and tight where you want. Now a little bit of added insurance, so that, because potentially that could, if you slide this up, which is what you do to adjust the line further down, that line can just fall straight through. And if you're doing that on the water, bye-bye to your fender. Then it's a big scramble. And then Anchor Girl starts yelling at me because whatever. So what I'm going to do is just make a single knot on this end, as close to the end as I can get. Just knot that off. Boom. So now that is not going to fall back through. So as long as this is clamped onto the railing, you're not going to lose the line. And again, I made these things quite a bit longer than what we need to reach the water line, so when it's back on the railing, I can, a little bit of security again, just tie that off to the rail so you're not going to lose it, hopefully. So that's that. Hope you learned a little bit of something. I think the boat looks a lot nicer with the black fenders on it rather than these white decrepit looking ones. And Anchor Girl's going to be happier because she doesn't have to worry about running across the deck and moving fenders back and forth. So that's it for now. We'll see you soon. Cheers. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe so you don't miss any of the new videos coming out. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Daily updates there, and always lively conversation on Facebook, so you don't want to miss it. And you can also follow us at boatsbeachesandbars.com, where you're going to find even more links to all sorts of neat things, including our online store. And you'll find all the links to everything mentioned up here, down there in the description, so you'll have no excuse not to follow along. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon. I'm at the end of my rope.